Now we've located the death card in the Warriors pile with the Princess of Discs on top. It's time to analyse this spread of cards, and we're going to use the card counting technique. The actual details of how to card count are in my other videos in the link below. So when we card count, we count from the Princess of Discs and she counts 7, and we can do it in either direction. And then we card count from the next card, and so on. And when we reach the same card again, we stop counting, because then obviously we're in a loop. And then we can analyse the other 4 sets of card counting we're going to do, 2 for each of the death card and the Princess of Discs. And we're going to see that there's a pattern. And that pattern is where we see the same other cards included in all the card counting. So this is the interesting aspect of all of this, which is the secret ruler of what's really going on. So let's start with the Princess of Discs. Starting from the Princess of Discs, we are going to count 7 cards, which takes us to the Ace of Swords. And for the aces we count 5. So we count 5 from there, which takes us to the Hermit card. The Hermit card is Virgo and it counts 12. So 12 from Virgo takes us back to the Ace of Swords, which completes the loop. So we don't continue counting from there because that's the loop finished. A nice, short, simple one. Now it's time to count the opposite direction for the Princess of Discs. So we count 7 from her, which takes us to the 6 of Swords. And for the 6 of Swords, we count 6, which goes to the Lover's card. And the Lover's card, because it's Gemini and a Zodiac card, we count 12. So we count 12 from the Lover's card, which is the Death card, so it's in the loop. Death card is Scorpio and we count 12, so we count 12 from the Death card, which takes us to the 3 of Swords, and the 3 of Swords we count 3. This takes us to the Hermit card, and for the Hermit card we're going to count 12. Which is to the 7 of Discs, and from the 7 of Discs we're going to count 7. Which takes us back to the Death card and the end of the loop. Counting from the Death card. The Death card is 12, and we're counting in the direction of the arrow, which takes us to the 3 of Swords, and the 3 is going to count, the 3 of Swords is going to count 3, which takes us to the Hermit card, and the Hermit card is Virgo, and we're going to count 12 cards. To the 7 of Discs, and from the 7 of Discs we count 7. And that takes us back to the Death card, which completes the loop. So in this direction, Death counts onto itself. From the Death card, we're going to count 12 in the opposite direction. This takes us to the Lover's card, and we're going to count 12 from the Lover's card. Which takes us to the Princess of Discs, and from the Princess of Discs we're going to count 7. Which takes us back to the Ace of Swords. So did you spot the common card in all 4 card counts? Yep, it was the Hermit card, which is a surprise. But let's see what Aleister Crowley has to say about the Hermit card. First of all, the Hermit is related to Virgo, the 9th sign of the zodiac, which appears in September, and it's the time of harvests, gathering and reaping. And the Hermit is the letter Yod, which is the first letter of the Tetragrammaton and represents the father, and it is also the hand. The ruler of the Hermit card is Mercury, and we also see the Lovers card significant in this card counting, and the Lovers is Gemini, and Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. So what else is special about this card? So fertility is the main one, and the second one, it is the feminine aspect. So Crowley is saying 2 things. On the one hand, it represents the highest masculine principle. It also represents the highest feminine principle as well, and ruling over Earth. And he describes this card as the formula of the princess, which is also the great work. Of most significance probably, especially in the context of studying the Death card, the aspect of Virgo and the Hermit card is of Psychopompus. The Psychopompus is a person who guides the dead through the regions of the dead. It's a powerful symbol of the great work that's going on here. So the great work is death and transformation, realizing the self in its alchemical form. And to do this, the self has to die to be recreated as the bigger self. This isn't all we can do with the card counting in this spread. I'm going to leave this open to you to work out yourself. There are other cards that you can count from. You could count on from, say, the Lover's card or the 3 of Swords, or why not look at some of the cards and card count from those that weren't in the original card counting to see where they take you. There's tons of work you can do on this one, and I look forward to seeing your comments and results.